And we are live. Good morning. Welcome to Community Voice. I'm your host, Keith Parris. I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning.
You sure about that?
Yeah, man, I'm sure.
Oh, wow.
I'm sure as the day is, whatever the day is. But anyway, happy birthday
To whom?
to my nephew, Brandon. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
All right, happy birthday, Brandon.
Yeah, happy birthday. Oh, and Caitlin. I'm going to forget Caitlin. Oh, man. Because I texted her at like 6:30 this morning. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. There's no greater month to have a birthday in than July.
Yes, it is. August.
I would venture to say May. Me and Carby would go with
You
May.
and May?
Yeah, me and Carby would go with May.
You know, at one point, we had so many cancers working up in here.
Couldn't even
Dude.
work with the emotion. Emotional. What the kids say? A bunch of
Who
emos.
are all of those?
Homer,
Keon.
Keon, Rick,
Uh-huh.
and me.
Yeah, a
Oh,
bunch
boy.
of emos.
That's just the personalities of those four combined.
Oh, man. It would be.
Call people emos?
Oh, man. And don't let it be a full moon. Oh, my God. That
No,
is.
Keon, I'm an empath. I can't help that I'm
Yeah, I'm an empath.
Get y'all. get on another path. Do that.
Yeah.
I can't help that I'm an
You know, guys, I would be in it. Oh, was I supposed to turn her mic on? Because
It wasn't on?
No,
Oh.
it wasn't on the whole
You
time.
got to start all over again.
I'm
Yeah.
doing all this great material.
No, great material, great material.
You
Action.
you literally missed me saying when he said 4 cancers. I said a bunch of emos.
Oh, we got that part now. Yeah.
And for people who are like, what are emos, Michelle? Emotionally touched people, emos. That's what the kids call them.
Dude.
And then, I just can't believe. Emo means you like emotionally sensitive.
Sensitivity.
Nah,
Yeah, we're Ralph Tresvant.
Depressed. Yes, we all we are. And then, like I said, and then Keon, I'm an empath. I can't help that I'm an empath. Get show.
I'm gonna empath you.
I'm just saying, man.
So anyway, and I did call Key out on his birthday.
I'm so sick of him. He posted another picture. Like my profile pic stayed the same for like 12 years.
Okay.
The whole Obama era, I ain't changed nothing.
Right.
It was me and B. Now, I never changed.
You would be.
That's right. I ain't changed nothing. Me and Barack. Keon, I think he like.
He got a wife.
And look, it's still me and B.
And it ain't just you.
And her name is Michelle.
Right.
So
And
I'm
then
just
it was
saying,
just you.
It
Because
was
Lena,
me.
I'm going like, that dude got a wife.
They got nothing to do with me. And I don't mean it inappropriate. It's buzz. I'm
It's
riding
still
with my boy.
inappropriate. But
Just like Katanji been up on my page now since she got sworn in. And so, but Keon just like, oh, the birthday is still lasting. So some chick must have took him to dinner on a rooftop. So he got the little pictures out, the little bottle of wine. It looked like some steak dinners, but he don't show her. He don't show her.
Might not
I
be
was
proud
like,
of what
show who it is. Oh, I just want to thank her for always spoiling me. And, I'm so sick of this dude with this little tired birthday. Like, go somewhere and sit down. But yeah, so check out his Facebook
He
page.
blew me off.
He got a new, did he?
Yeah, kind of blew. Oh, man. Dude, wait a minute.
Are you
I
serious?
called you on your birthday, man.
Because I ain't even called him.
But happy birthday. Let me do this. I know you got to go.
Right.
I appreciate your conversations with the two families.
Mm.
And it hit me. This, folks, was a lynching. A lynching is the public killing of an individual who has not received any due process. I think the term they use in law is extrajudiciary. This is Trayvon Martin, right? This is George Floyd. So to be able to have that conversation is important. I saw it, and you're right. We so normalize it. And I'm looking.
Because which video did you see? Did you see it when he was already dead?
I
Or
saw
when he
the
was
one.
begging for his life?
Oh, I saw when the guy held him down. He said, "I'm sorry,"
Right.
and then the guy hit him. And then
And I realized they said he was hitting him with like a nightstick or a pipe or something.
Yeah. And you're supposed to understand, I think in security, you restrain him.
Right.
But they said that what he did, the police department has outlawed.
But did you hear Sean Moore say that? So there were four men involved in holding him down.
Right.
3 black, 1 white.
So I was so focused on the white dude, and I saw the black dude on
the
leg.
on the legs. That's what
Yeah.
I saw. But then when they get questioned, the brothers all get sat in cars.
Okay.
And the white dude is just allowed to stand up outside and chit chat. And then this determination is already made that there will be no charges.
Right.
And I'm like, have we seen everything we need to see?
And the presumption. Now I don't know who they're going to bring in. I see it's
Ben
Ivory.
Crump.
The B Ivory.
For
the B Ivory was speaking for the family.
Ben Crump will be here on Monday.
Okay. Yep. Hyatt.
Press release on Monday. I mean, press conference on Monday.
Hyatt is going to be, they're going to go after Hyatt because they're acting on behalf of the Hyatt.
And it was Hyatt. So
and it's on Hyatt property.
There were Hyatt employees like trying to tell the because those were Hyatt employees telling the people to stop videotaping. And the one girl acted like she was about to get into a fight with the woman that was videotaping. I don't know if you heard her talking.
I
to
saw
her,
somebody coming
aggressive.
around and she was asking, why are you, is that the woman?
So it was 2. It was a taller, heavier woman, and it was a short, petite, little light-skinned sister.
Okay.
And the little light-skinned sister was like acting like she was about to square up with the lady that was videoing. And Sean Moore said ultimately his video picks up where the woman that was stopped because they were harassing her. Right. And she stopped. Yeah. But to see that in real time, and Sean say, I heard it first. Right. And ended up walking
and
towards it.
And then what did it take the police 10 minutes to get there? And they're like 5 blocks away.
I mean, even if you're not talking about the station, they all over downtown.
Right.
And so that's why he said he don't believe that they had called him right away because that took too long for them to show up. Yeah. But the thing is, the family better do what they're going to do on, like they said, next week, because then the RNC happens, the perimeter changes, and you're not going to be able to do nothing down there. There will be no protest. So they have to hurry up and jump on it now.
Yeah. So when I immediately thought about that in that case, because these were private citizens, it's also Craig Stingley's son.
Absolutely.
Same thing.
Absolutely. And it can never get easy when Natalie Easter, Isaiah Allen's mom from the gas station shooting, when she sat here, like it was like she was reliving it all over again.
Oh man, it
and you now becoming a part of this club.
And I think that what we have to do is unlearn the internalized racism that we have. Because the first question some people probably had in their minds was, what did he do?
Right. Always.
And you can't tell me it's like Michael Brown. You don't lose your life.
Yeah.
Over cigars.
And I mean, and even, when they said, this is what you get when you walk into the ladies' bathroom.
Oh, that's incriminating.
Yeah. Like the whole thing was like, so you was trying to make it like what? So he was a rapist. He was getting ready to assault somebody.
You were justifying your punishment.
Yeah.
And that's a lynching.
Right. And no, but I'm just still saying.
And you got that on tape.
To the point about what did he do? So like I'm like, what were you trying to say he did? He tried to sexually assault somebody in broad daylight, in a bath, and he was there with someone. It sounds like. Yeah. They said Sean said his white male friend was the only one pleading for them to stop.
And we don't know if he went into the bathroom because of what was happening in the lobby.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of questions.
And that's what I'm saying.
To be able to dismiss it. And already the medical examiner has determined it to be a homicide, which now means.
So how does the police say that the investigation is over if that's true?
I think that's probably going to have to change.
It needs to change.
Yeah,
and I mean, and the more I sat here and talked about him, like I said, just at Mykonos the other day, I not paying attention. I walked into the middle of their kitchen instead of going to that next opening and going up the hallway to go to the bathroom. When I'm in Greece, it was so many women in line to go to the women's room. I went to the men's room.
Oh, if I got to use
like men, all the ladies, we was like, there are no men here. We're going in their bathroom because they had stalls.
Especially if you have individual bathrooms.
That's what I'm saying. They had individual bathrooms. And so we went in. So then all of a sudden, of course, here come all these men. So I opened the door to come out the bathroom, and the guys are like, "Oh," and I was like, "It was a long line."
And you know
there.
what? That's interesting. I don't know where I was. I don't know if it was something with the Black Chamber of Commerce, and I was at an event, and I walked into the women's room.
Yeah.
You know, and it was
It happens.
looking like radio.
I'm just, I'm just saying. So without them telling us, like,
Yeah.
are you saying that you believe he went in there to sexually assault somebody? Well, how did this man, like you said,
And
did
that's
the
interesting.
fight take him in there? How did he get in the
The
women's
George
room?
Floyd thing wasn't immediate.
No,
I think it was 3 days after
before it
it
really
really got out.
the groundswell.
Right.
and-
So, you know,
Because
when-
like literally, Sean sent me that video as soon as he recorded it, and I'm sitting here looking at this. So it hadn't broke. The media didn't know. Nobody was there yet. The
Right.
police hadn't arrived yet. When he sent me that
and
video,
even the news response to it,
it's been slow.
yeah, it's kind of been like, but no, man, it there is, and you, anyway.
I just
All right.
wonder how the brothers
But I
feel.
wanted to put that out there. So when you hear that term lynching, don't always, think
See.
about mobs. Think about that you're denying a person due process. When Easter walked out of that gas station, if it was theft,
shot in the back
shot in
of
the back of the head, that's a lynching. Because you've taken,
you're-
without giving him due process,
Yeah, you've decided.
you decided that this is the level of punishment that should be meted for
But
the
you
behavior.
like know how crazy you got to be, and then like I could hear his mother's frustration that what did she say? His trial is supposed to take 3 weeks because he has to do dialysis 2 days a week,
Mhm.
and so we got to be concerned because we got to give you
Mhm.
your
Because you're protected from cruel.
right. And
That's the
unusual-
Constitution, cruel and unusual
Yeah. And
punishment.
so just think about that. So we got to make sure you get your dialysis as you are on trial for murder.
Presumed innocent until proven guilty. That's our system. But sometimes you just look at it and go like, okay, this is really perfunctory. I hate to say it that way because you're supposed to give people a fair hearing.
Right.
And then they have this bar that the prosecution has to meet beyond a reasonable doubt. It could take one person, you get a hung jury. So there's a lot there. But I apologize because I should have been on this. And we saw the tape. And maybe we're in the middle of everything going on with life. And again, that's what was happening with George Floyd. We were dealing with COVID, right? And we're dealing with the lockdown and all the psychology that was going into how we were reacting to and then all of a sudden we watched this, and then we were forced to watch that 9 minutes and 38 seconds of George Floyd losing his life. It's kind of hard when people see it, how jarring it was. It wasn't, and I appreciate media because I hate when they say they try to block it out. Sometimes you need to show just how awful this act is.
Right.
You kind of
But
numb
like they
people.
said, that's that double-edged sword. Because I need to show you so you understand, but I show you so many times you become desensitized to it.
Right.
So the striking the balance about what's done. But I just to have Sean say, I heard him across the street, up the street screaming. That's what drew my attention. That's sickening. And
you know,
you
if you
die
talk
in
about the
front of me.
dorm, MATC's dorm is in the old Journal building.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was wondering when he
Right,
said dorm.
because Frankie is going to be down in the dorm.
Really?
Yeah.
God, I love a walkthrough. That's a beautiful building.
Yeah, so that's their dormitory. Because when we had the folks
Huh.
on from MATC, they were talking about kids in the dorm. I said,
Right.
"Oh, when'd you get a dorm?"
I
They got the old
remember.
Journal Sentinel building.
Okay. Well, have a great show, bro.
All righty then. Phone lines open 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. No, we're not going to take a break. Okay. Oh, no, I thought you just going, no, you're going to do what you got to do. Let me do this. Are we good? I keep going? Okay. All right. New guy. What's your name? Caleb. Caleb Holes? Know that family well. Welcome aboard, man. Yeah, you're over there with the old guy. How old are you? How old are you, Caleb?
17.
You're 17. Oh, all right. So you got this old dude working with you now. He's 19. he's old. He's the old man now. Oh man. So 414. I was downstairs. I found out, Michelle, I actually have Westmore's book. You know about the two Wesses?
What's this book about?
There's another guy
Did
who
he write
had
it
the
right
same-
before he was going to run for office?
No,
For
he ran
Maryland?
it. He wrote it 10 years ago.
10 years ago.
He wrote it 10 years ago, and it's about a guy, maybe longer than that. I think it was
Is it called the
2010.
Two Wesses?
It's just pulled it up. But the guy has the same name as him,
Okay.
who's in prison.
Oh.
And so he wanted to
know.
meet with the guy, and
I
I
know
had
the
the
story.
book. And
I
when
know
he
the
said
story.
it, I was talking to him Friday. I knew the book, and then I realized, oh, I bought that book.
So did you read it?
I can't read. I mean, I bought. Of course, I've read it.
I mean, you just
Did
like
I-
buying books. I think
Do I
you
do
just
I
like.
read it?
I just think you like buying books, man. I think you have the intent to get to all of them, but
I go through 'em.
books is like your jam. I think you like buying
I
books.
go through 'em.
Nerdy one.
But anyway,
Did you give me the other one? I got mine.
Anyway,
I thought I had to do too.
today
Is
Wednesday's word, but today I'm going to go through the dictionary of cliches.
did you buy that book?
I
You are
sure did buy that
such
book.
A nerd.
Sure did buy that
Keith,
book.
I wanted to share this with you and Michelle rather quickly. I just want to throw this in here. I just want to interject this.
Why is he
If you
using
don't
his
mind.
radio voice?
This is the
What?
This is official.
this is
the
Mike,
voice, the voice.
Everybody listen up.
Mike policy here.
Oh, we got a policy.
Yeah, right, this is Mike policy.
This is Mike's policy speaking here.
Did you know that today was Compliment Your Mirror Day?
Oh, today is Compliment Your Mirror Day.
Yeah, it's also National Crown Day and Stay Out of the Sun Day.
What
Wait a
does
minute.
compliment your mirror mean?
I don't know.
I think it's
Is it
complimenting what you
compliment
see
myself?
when you see in the mirror.
Because I'm just saying,
that would be my
compliment your
interpretation.
mirror,
But I know for some that
which is an
that's
object.
going to be difficult to do.
It's
You
not
wouldn't-
compliment what you see in the mirror.
No, it says
Compliment
compliment
your
your
mirror.
mirror day. Yeah, take a look at it. There's
have
a
my
whole.
Oh my
Dude.
God.
Just take a look.
I don't know where you found these generic things.
I think-
Give me a good cliche before I go.
Okay. Jury rigged. Jury rigged. Does that
That's
sound
a cliche?
familiar? Yes, a cliche.
Jury rigged.
Yeah, and I think they used another term.
How do they use it?
a
jury
temporary or
rig?
makeshift repair. What is that also
Nigga
called?
rig. So they call it jury rig.
Always back to slavery. There
I'm
we
like,
go.
I've never heard anything called jury rigged.
Isn't it jury rigged or something like that? So he says jury.
Jury rig.
Jury rig. And what it is
Is what?
it is.
Somebody
wow,
made
this
that
goes back to 1627.
Nigga rig. That's where it came from.
No, that-
Michelle.
1620. Yeah, that,
Nigga
What?
rigged.
That because everybody has heard that phrase. Well, they too young.
Oh, you know what it is.
You know.
Kyrie, you
Have
heard
you
of
ever
that
heard that?
before, haven't you, Kyrie?
Have you ever heard the term nigger rig before? Yeah, nigger rig. You ever heard that before? Too young. Okay.
All right.
He did or didn't?
No, he hadn't heard it.
Wow.
how about
He was
this one?
ripping and running. And
You know
he
when
missed
your
that
uncle
one.
fixed something just temporarily till you can get the right thing on
Right.
it?
Like shade tree mechanic type nonsense. Yeah.
Doing the work in the street.
I wonder where that, now I gotta look at where that came from now.
Oh, which I can tell you. I got it right here. It's a
It's right
temporary
here.
makeshift repair. The term comes from the older
Do
jury.
they have the term nigger rigged in there? Or
No,
jury
they
rigged?
do not have that.
So they
term
got
in there.
jury rigged.
Jury rig. Right.
Okay.
It's
Have you ever asked
Wait,
your
hold
Alexa-
on. Let me just say to the new intern, we don't throw the word N-word
around here? It's-
irresponsibly.
This
Yeah,
is this is an
Only in
academic.
context.
This is an academic discussion.
Now, when you get out in that hallway, I can't guarantee you what you're gonna hear, but you look like you come
You
from a
will
good
have
family.
learned something.
Look, you look like you come from a good family where the N-word is not bandied about. So this is work related, okay? So go home and tell your parents
All right.
they
And-
was using the
They
N-word.
just kept saying the word. I couldn't believe
I don't want to go back.
nigger.
I was afraid.
What'd you say, Carvey? That was not needed. Thank you from the
Oh,
mouths
man.
of babes. That
Oh.
was not needed, D.
All right, here we go. How about this one? King's English. The
King
language when
James.
it was well written or well spoken. It isn't the language when it's well written, well spoken. It's an old term turning up in Shakespeare's The Merry Wives of Windsor. but also earlier sometimes as the Queen's English. One of the first examples is apparently in Thomas Wilson's Art of Rhetoric. These fine English clerks will say thee, speak in their, oh man, they did Middle English, their mother tongue. Come on, man.
But I use that because when my brother is doing his best Ebonics to aggravate me, I'm like, could you speak the King's English, please? Could you
Okay.
please do that? I do that.
Oh, no, this is biblical. Did not know this.
What?
Labor of love. Labor of love.
How is it biblical?
Something done out of the affection or deep interest rather than for money. It is a phrase from St. Paul's 1 Thessalonians 2 and 3. We give thanks to God always for you all, making mention of you in our prayers, remembering without ceasing your work of faith and labor of love and patience of hope in our Lord Jesus Christ in the sight of God.
I say labor of love all the time.
This I say a lot with you, though.
What?
Uh-oh.
Last straw.
Say, drum roll.
One thing too much.
Have you?
The picture here is of a horse or a camel being loaded with something that starts out not being burdensome, but that as it is added to will at some point overload the beast. In the earliest version, it was feathers on a horseback, as Archbishop John Braham put it in 1655. It is the last feather that breaks the horse's back. The camel turns up in Charles Dickens' Dombey and Son, 1848. As the straw breaks the laden camel's back, this piece of underground information crushing the sinking spirits of Mr. Dombey.
You like in hog heaven right now?
Oh
Aren't
my
you?
God.
What's your little book?
How about this? If you're a preacher, you can appreciate this one.
Elena,
Lay an egg.
here.
Lay an egg.
Lay an egg.
Wow.
To
Amen.
fail. To do something embarrassing. Now in preaching, we call it dying.
Dying.
Dying. You die in a sermon. It means you fail spectacularly.
Really?
Right. I was talking to a
What's a good indication that a sermon died? Like you
Nobody
look up and
say
people
amen?
are walking out, or
Everybody just looking at you.
think the crickets.
Y'all don't hear me.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Okay, Walls.
I wish I had about 4 sanctified folks up in here.
I could just get 2
There's
seconds.
200 people in there, but I just need 4 of them.
I
Yeah.
just need 2
That
seconds.
might be an indication that it's dying then, right?
And
there.
we talked about at American Baptist College that as freshmen, you have to do Vesper. You have to preach
What is
your
Vesper?
Vesper is services, right? Worship service. And it's Tuesday Vespers. Vespers comes from you used to do like prayers and so you have to do that. Well, when they're wearing black suits
Mm-hmm.
to your Vesper,
Yeah,
they coming for a funeral
I don't understand.
because you're gonna die in that sermon.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Really?
I caught that.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
Okay.
Why would they wear the black suits?
Like they coming to kill you?
No, they're coming to watch you die. It's gonna be a funeral.
Wow.
Well, how they know I'm a bomb? It seems like they're anticipating my death.
I'm gonna tell you something.
What?
Just like anything, they're haters.
I was gonna say,
Are they?
preachers are some of the ooh, let me be quiet.
All right.
Well,
Because they are.
I mean, like the thing that irritates me is when you go to the funeral and they have like 5 pastors from different churches
Mhm.
because of the relationship of that person or who they were. And every pastor is supposed to make remarks, but they end up doing a mini sermon and they try to outdo the pastor before them. Or
Mhm.
Does that happen?
yeah, that's
Of course that
irritating.
happens.
That's irritating.
All right. This is kind of contemporaneous. Lesser of two evils.
Oh, you mean
We said
Trump,
that a lot.
Biden right now? Trump, Biden?
We say that a lot
some
politically.
people are saying politically right
I mean,
now.
we said it in 2020. We said it in
Yeah.
2016. We said
The
that.
best option when both are difficult or painful. The saying is a modification of an old proverb: of the two evils, choose the less. Chaucer had the thought, and Troilus
Chaucer.
and Cresseide. You read Chaucer? I love Chaucer.
Chaucer was excellent.
I can't even read it. Of Hermes 2, the lesser is for to chase. Now this is Old English, and so okay, but yep. Oh, here's another one. Let it all hang out. Conceal nothing. Be free willing. The advice dates from some 25 years ago
I was gonna say the 70s.
and seems to have originated with blacks in America, quite like it was originally the males. Oh,
I was gonna say it came from a nudist camp.
Okay. Let's put that book down. All right, you're listening to Community Voice. The phone lines are open, 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
With you, man. Welcome back.
Welcome back. And
Keith Parris in the morning.
before we had Luther Vandross, A House Is Not a Home. Melvin Lindsay, man, dude, I fell in love with The Quiet Storm. It, first of all, if people ask me what I like, is not a genre, but I really like melodic music. And so The Quiet Storm was WHUR. That was, ooh. All right, caller, welcome to the program.
Debo, I don't know if Michelle is still in the studio, but I'd like to ask you a couple of questions. Do you think Joe Biden should drop out? And the reason that I'm asking this question is because of the that debate, the debate performance
Mhm.
of that last debate he had, and I have some concerns because I'm still alive from George when he, number 45, when he starts that habitual lying. Somebody needs to be sharp enough to counter when he lies like that. To offset that, and it looks like President Biden wasn't able to do that. He told so many lies during that. 45 told so many lies, kind of went over the top, and Joe Biden was. I don't think he was sharp enough at that particular time to come back and counter that. And I know he's going to do an interview with George Stephanopoulos, so I'm gonna watch that, and that might be kind of scripted to kind of see how he performs or how he answers questions. And then number two, who do you think that the Democratic Party can get, if that does happen, to take his place? Because I think we're in a lot of trouble come November. Because I'm just dread that day that 45 gets back in there, then this country, just in my opinion, is really going to be in a lot of trouble. But do you think he should drop out, and do you think who would they get to run in his place?
It is it's interesting because I was trying to
I'll hang up and
no,
listen.
let's have a conversation. I
Oh,
appreciate
okay. Sure.
Number one, there is some reporting by Bob Woodward saying that when leading up to prep, that Biden wasn't getting up to 11. He walked out of meeting. Now I don't know if this is verified. So there are concerns. And it's I think it's ironic that you called, because the last cliche we did was the lesser of two evils, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we take someone who has age appropriate diminishing, right? Because as we get old, all of us are diminishing. That's the inevitability of longevity.
Right.
That
Right.
we're going to diminish. Now that does not mean that he is not able to do the job. We're not talking like Ronald Reagan, who in his second term was dealing with the early onset of Alzheimer's, right?
Right.
We're in a tough situation, and a lot of this, I don't know if this would have been different. You always do what if, but if Obama had supported Joe Biden instead of Hillary Clinton in 2016,
Right.
he's a younger man. If elected, we're not dealing with the same issues we're dealing with now. So we can't dismiss the fact for both of these men, because we're focusing in on him, and Donald Trump is kind of in the same situation, right?
Yeah.
So
Right.
it is a very difficult choice. I think the other thing is, and I asked the question, where's the bench? Because you didn't have a contested primary this go around, if you had people out there who could get name recognition, visibility, who might be able to go after Trump. Now, people have mentioned Michelle Obama, but they've done polling, and the polling shows that if she ran, she would lose to Donald Trump by 17 points, right? Because you got a couple of things going on there. You have a woman, you have a black woman, and then you have a black woman who just happened to be married to Barack Obama. And though Barack Obama is popular in certain circles, Barack Obama is unpopular in other circles. So,
Right.
I think it's a tough situation, and you don't have an alternative at this point, so
Yeah.
and if we take it as this was a bad debate, it looks like he lost 5 points. He can make that up, right? So it really depends on how his folks, how they get out, and then how they roll him out. Because there's a significant number of Americans who do not want to see Donald Trump back in office. That's a significant number of Americans. But then so then what happens? They're not going to vote for Trump. Michelle and I think we were talking about this. There's a whole new electorate out there part of the electorate called the couch. And what they're talking about is people who would decide not to go vote because both of these candidates are not palatable. Right. And it's just in their minds. But we always say it. I'm sorry, go on.
No, and you listen to certain other news outlets, particularly Fox News, and I know they have an agenda as well, but they're saying his fundraising numbers are going up dramatically. His crowds are getting bigger. They're putting that narrative out there, and I know that's part of their, the thing that they have, they have to say things like that. But I know who I'm going to vote for, and it's not 45. I just can't, and then I'm just so disappointed with our country, the Supreme Court, that ruling that they just brought down. Just seems like things are just getting worse and worse.
It's the consequences of the 2016 election.
Exactly.
If people would have not been on the couch in 2016 and show up to vote in Milwaukee, well, I won't go to places like Detroit and other places where they dealt with the same thing. Philadelphia. These are states that Trump ended up winning because a lot of people stayed at home. It wasn't that they were for Trump. They just decided it was not even worth it. I'm not going to show up and vote. And so that becomes the issue. I sit there like last night. It was hard for me to sleep because I don't want to use the word worry, but I am concerned. Things can line up in just the way. I know we have this. I was saying to someone, I don't know if it's a false hope to think that people are going to vote and vote the right way or vote for the right thing or do the right thing. And if it's a question of a person who, we're not even talking about the criminal charges, but look, here's the benefit of him being able to appoint judges because they've been able to slow down investigations and prosecutions, right? The Supreme Court decision, which gives him, and it didn't change anything, right? I mean, right. It didn't go after him in the way that the three dissenting justices thought, that nobody is above the law. But the president, in some ways, is above the law. I mean, that's right. The reality. Some of the things that the president would have to do. So yeah, I it's tough. We got 5 months. That's a lifetime in politics. Things could change, but I can see the frustration that people are having. And I know that there's a certain amount of hand wringing. And some folks over on the Republican side are just saying, look, it's inevitable. This dude is our guy. He's popular among our base. And so they're not going to push back on him. And you can ask the people who, Larry Hogan, who is running for U.S. Senate in Maryland. He is a moderate Republican in a state like a very deep blue state like Maryland. And when he came out and made a comment about let the justice system do what it's supposed to do, someone from RNC said, you can kiss your Senate campaign goodbye.
Right. Yep.
So yeah, I know, man. That's the frustrating part of all of this is that, but we have to make decisions, and no candidate is going to be everything. Look, we probably gave Obama passes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep,
sure. I mean, if you just real talk where maybe another president might have done something in such a way, like among Hispanics, Barack Obama lost a lot of popularity because the joke that they used for him was he was the deporter in chief. He had deported so many folks. So wow. And I wish that Obama was running. What's the guy said in Get Out? If I could vote for Obama for a third term, I would have, to show how liberal he was. So, yeah.
All right. Thanks a lot, Keith.
I appreciate you, man.
You have a good one, man. Take care.
You too. Have a good holiday.
Mm-hmm. You too. Thank you.
Which is interesting. My mom asked me yesterday, because my mom is dealing with some issues with her memory. And she asked me yesterday. So she said, so what is the 4th of July for? Why are we doing the 4th of July? And I said, well, Mom, Black people don't recognize the 4th of July like white people do, only because when that Declaration of Independence was done, many of us weren't even considered fully human, right? So no, it's not our day. Our Freedom Day is June 19th. It's just another day for us to get out and barbecue. Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Mr. Parris.
Good morning, Christopher. How are you?
Yes, sir. in the amongst the, or how do you say it? There was a show that used to say this. I'm in the land of the living.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. What
And
I
thank you
heard
for
this
taking
guy
my
say in the
call,
movie
sir.
one time, he said, "Air is better than dirt."
Absolutely. I know, right. You know, and the closest thing to dirt is dust.
Yep.
And that is what they treat our people as dust. Dust is, it has no purpose, it has no function, nor does it have any form. Up and until the Most High gave it form, took dust or mud or black clay and made it into a man. Anyway, I was calling primarily because of this. Listening to some things that I've seen over the internet concerning the situation in Gaza and the expansionism or the attempt to expand Israel and to absolutely annihilate and remove the people of Palestine and the darker skinned people of the Sudan. Those people who think that Arab people are some anomaly and they are like a separate species of human beings, they're completely, absolutely, utterly incorrect. And I'll be nice and say it that way. That's just the compilation, or as the scripture says, the intermingling, or as scripture says that the Son of Man, I think, saw the daughters of they saw the daughters of somebody, and they were fair to the most part. And you understand because, and you can correct me because you are scripturally abreast. And as the Holy Quran says, and the polytheist be averse, meaning averse, well knowing of the scripture. But ultimately, this is what I'm talking about. We as a people here in the wilderness of North America should pay very, very close attention to what is and has transpired in Gaza concerning the state, the imperial state of Israel, the illegitimate state of Israel, the imposer in what they call the Middle East, and what their ultimate aim and intention is. And that's, as the Holy Quran says, Allah judges the intention. That is what Allah is most concerned about. It's not so much about what you're doing. It's what did you intend to do? And what Israel is trying to do, as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan spoke about, he preemptively spoke about all of these things that we are witnessing. And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad wrote books and gave many, many lectures concerning the matters that are taking place. And as we live and as we witness, we are the witnesses of what the scripture spoke about, as that is unraveling right before our very eyes, although we are mystified with regard to the perception of what is taking place. So all I'm saying is this: if you're confused, because I am not, Allah is not the author of confusion. This is very linear for us. What is happening to the people over there in Palestine is a practice run of what the United States government plans to do to us here in the hells, or the hell and the wilderness of the United States of America. So if we don't think that there is a plan afoot to remove us utterly, and we're not paying attention to what's going on over there, then we will be, as the scripture says, sheep to the slaughter. You understand?
Yeah, and
Thank you.
you're welcome. I was wrestling with the promise to Abraham, and it seemed to me that there was some modifications done in Semitic law, Semitic tradition, Semitic culture. The oldest male was entitled to the biggest inheritance. Didn't matter who his mother was, because his inheritance was tied to who his dad was. If you read what happened in terms of the promise made to Abraham, and that Sarah would have a child, I don't know, and if there's biblical scholars out there, I don't know if it's supposed to be the first child. She was going to have the first child, because if you follow the narrative, it was basically Sarah. Okay, I mean, what can she do? Because a man could have his wives, he could have concubines, and so Ishmael was the firstborn. Ishmael was the firstborn. And Arab people and other people see themselves as part of the lineage of Ishmael. And then you had Isaac. But Ishmael and his mother was banished because his mother, Hagar, was bragging basically about the inheritance that her son was going to receive. And then when Sarah had Isaac, there's things there, and long story short, you find out then that both Hagar and Ishmael are then banished. But they had inheritance, but not the same inheritance that he would have had he stayed. So for those people who are descendants of those people call themselves Arab, that's part of it. There's also the people there who are ancient Canaan. So I'm saying that there's a long history there, and this is why Arab people don't necessarily recognize Israel's right to exist. We have a caller. Morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Hi, this is Dora Drake. How are you?
Congratulations. Good morning, Dora Drake. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you, Keith?
I'm doing real good. Hey, Dora, let me ask you a question.
Yes.
When did you work for the Center for Self-Sufficiency?
So I work for the Center for Self-Sufficiency. Oh, gosh, when was that? I believe that was 2014.
Okay, so then I remember you from there.
Yes, I think so, 'cause
When I saw I was going through your bio, and I'm going,
Mhm.
okay, she worked at the Center for Self-Sufficiency.
Yeah.
Under Angie We
Mhm.
still work with them with our fatherhood program, the FIRE program now, and I've been
Oh,
with
nice.
I've been back with child support for 13 years. So, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
congratulations.
well, thank you. I was calling again because obviously we saw the results yesterday, and even though I'm excited with the results, we still have to address that there is low voter turnout. And, I don't know if it was discussed yet, but I know in Glendale, we had out-of-state GOP election observers that were disrupting the process.
Right. Well,
And
actually,
so,
it was live on the air.
oh, wow,
They
okay.
were speaking with Mayor Kennedy yesterday.
Hmm.
That would have been about 11:15, Debo? I think about 11:15 or so. I was leaving the station, and Tamika had started the show, and then she said, and then he called in to explain what was happening.
Yep. And so I just wanted to call on the show to thank the people that did support the campaign, but knowing that we have another one, not just in July, but in August and essentially November, to really encourage folks that, our right to vote and our civil rights are nothing to be played with and to be taken for granted. And so I want to make sure that it's imperative that we get everyone involved, and that every registered voter come out to vote and continue to speak with voters throughout the rest of the campaign.
All right.
All right.
Well,
Thank you.
appreciate that, and congratulations again.
Thank you. I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Caller, welcome to the program.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
I heard you talking about where, the first parent supposed to leave I guess the inheritance to the firstborn. Now, I heard that before, and I always wonder where they get that back alley nonsense from.
What's that?
Well, they say, well, because of this is the firstborn, they supposed to get everything, and I never could
Not
understand
everything. They get the largest portion because they're the eldest, and there could be a lot going in for practical reasons, but usually the eldest male in Semitic law would receive the bigger of the inheritance.
That is one of the most ignorant, dope fiend, crack alley things I have ever heard.
So
in
what's
my
your
life.
family position? You the oldest in your family?
No, I'm not.
Oh, I am.
I feel, I feel like this. You get what you put in. Okay. If you
Inheritance
did
doesn't
this,
work that way.
it should, because see, I have a problem with that. Because see, you might have some of them family members that's there for their mother and father, and I'm talking about in the black community.
Mhm.
And I hope some of y'all listening too. And see, some of y'all act like y'all too busy. You too busy. Y'all use them children you got as an excuse. And then the one family member who's there from sun up, sun down, now they got to split 50-50, who did all the work, and you gave 0%. And then y'all come to that funeral home, then you want to sit there with all them tears when you really need to be climbing in that casket for being a matter of convenience, no good nigga.
Well, Al, let me say, Al,
I don't like that.
Let me say, Al, let me say this. Those family, now, first of all, whatever I do for my mama, my daddy, when they're in their twilight years, I'm supposed to do. All kids are supposed to do it. You have some kids, for whatever reasons, will or will not step up. And we live in a different culture now where inheritance usually are divided equally among all of the offspring. But that's probably more European in terms of how you divide it up in terms of that. So I agree. But then let me say this, as the oldest child of an oldest child, to whom much is given, much is required.
And I feel like this, and if they're going to leave the biggest inheritance to the older child, that older child better be there. They better be doing pretty much all the work. They should be doing some of everything, not sitting up in the Lord house crying. Because, a lot of times, Mr. Pierce, a lot of people go to church because they know when it comes to their integrity, they was never good for sugar, honey, iced tea. Mm-hmm. So they sit up in that Lord house and they see their mother and father sitting there going through stuff, and then they want to get quiet on the phone because they think somebody going to ask something of them that they knew they was going to fail at anyway. So, I have a problem with that. And then the other question I was going to ask you, when it comes to our black folks, why is it when it comes to these Trump people, they let them pay them like $10, $20 nickel whores?
Well, let me say this, and that's an interesting observation.
So they always give them the bare minimum.
Right.
Like,
I don't know if how...
I don't get it.
I don't know. First of all, just based on how descendants of enslaved African people vote, we tend to vote Democrat. Right. I mean, just statistically, that is borne out. That's justified for a whole lot of reasons. I know when I had Bishop Harvey on, he was saying how, I think he said that how we can be socially conservative, but then progressive when it comes to issues of government and things like that. It is a contradiction. And so that's what's so vexing in our community, right? Because you have people who have strong opinions on what a marriage should look like. You have people in our community who have strong opinions about whether or not a woman should have a right to an abortion. But at the same time, some of those very same people will tell you they believe in a strong government because they're getting a Social Security check and they want to make sure that Social Security check is coming.
But you're supposed to have some pride. See, because the way some of these black people let these Trump people pay them, they're not paying them black people like they would pay their own. So you're supposed to have some pride. And one more thing, and I might hang up. I know this lady with these black pastors. They supposed to be about motivation, dedication, inspiration to elevate the community. But I see they're starting to humble themselves when it comes to people like Trump. And then the first thing they say, they don't come to the hood. Well, first of all, if you're a man of pride and great taste, you don't live in a hood. You live in a neighborhood. And I feel like if those pastors want to hear here and say, I got to eat humble pie and I got to live in the hood, maybe you should not be the one standing at the pulpit because you don't live in a hood. You live in a neighborhood.
But see, that look, the fact that we even have black clergy. Now, we've always had black clergy involved when it comes to issues of social justice. As a matter of fact, I asked Meach. I asked him because he was talking about how progressives are getting away from sin. And I asked him, I said, is injustice a sin? Because last time I checked, injustice was a sin. And then this becomes the question for religious people: what responsibility do we have to make sure that there is justice? We talk about justice, we talk about justice in terms of our own internal salvation, but justice is bigger than that. Justice, simply defined is to get your due. Remember, I was talking about with the lynching piece, where you due process. That's justice. And there's injustices going on where the churches are either indifferent or silent, and in some cases complicit with the people who are causing the injustice.
A good friend of mine she's passed on. What she told me about the church? She said she told her grandson, if you ever want to lose your virginity and you want to experience a good whore, go to church.
But you know what, Al? Let's put that in context. You know why? Because human beings are in church, and human beings, and I wish that everybody who goes to church, everybody who goes to temple, everybody who goes to mosque are truly converted practitioners of the very thing they go to. But the reality is that you have people there who are members of the church, not necessarily converted members of the church. And what I mean by converted is not this old thing we used to have with Pentecostalism. I don't do this, I don't do that. It's how you live your life. It's questions of social justice. It's what do we do for people who are less fortunate? Those are the universal things that I think that people can do. That, to me, is how you actualize your faith, right? And we can get into all the catechisms of whether you believe in a heaven or whether you believe in hell. Those things will take care of themselves, but you're living right now. And so the question is, how are you living right now? And that becomes the issue. You want to talk about conflict in the Black community? A lot of it is, where are we in terms of how we see other human beings? Because we see other human beings as less than, that could be it, less than, that's how I'm going to treat you. So I'm hoping you use this word, that what religion should do is elevate our best selves. But what we're discovering is that religion sometimes brings out our worst selves. That's not God, that's religion. And we need to be able to differentiate between what is God, what is divine, and what is religion, because they're two separate things.
Well, I just wanted to say, have a great weekend. Live your life. I'm going to live my life, and I'm going to spend it. When I get done, I'm going to drink some gin. Have a happy 4th, and you take care.
No, we was talking about summer anthems. What about gin and juice? Yeah. 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. If we can put yesterday's election in context in terms of low voter turnout, I'm thinking that we average in the spring primary something between 12 and 15%, 17% would be pretty high. The general election kind of kicks up a little bit more. I'm talking about the general election we would have in the spring, that more people are coming out. That special election, and I guess the question that I'm asking is, why does it take the governor so long to call that special election, right? And then it's situated in such a way that it's right on top of the regular election, the August-November cycle. So I don't know what the rationale was for that. I don't know if they were up on a deadline in terms of that you had to call it for whatever reasons. And so, not surprising that it was going to be a low voter turnout. That anybody who does this know that that's not surprising, right? What it also showed was stark, and there's a term that we use now called voter participation, right? Those people who are more apt to participate in an election, okay? And so as like a special election, that means that you really have to be in tune and you do it. For the most part, most people are waiting for the bigger elections. Though I think we did have I'm trying to think of the year that Ernell Lucas was elected sheriff. And I want to say that was 2018. And it was an enormous turnout for August and November, but certainly in August. And the only thing I could put my finger on it was a reaction to Trump, right? That people showed up, because if I go back and I pull up those numbers, it was a high voter participation election. Mayor Kennedy said something yesterday that was very interesting to me. He talked about, but it's not surprising. He talked about in Glendale. He was saying that there's usually a 91% voter participation. Talking about in the bigger elections. That's incredible, because most people are at 50%, 60%. But a lot of what's going on there is how there are probably a lot of property owners. Property owners tend to be a little bit more in tune to what's going on in terms of electoral politics, because it impacts their bottom line, right? I'm looking at my property tax and what my property tax is going to look like. So they're looking at their bottom line, because my property tax impacts on my pocket. The phone line's open, 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. Quick break. We'll be right back.
Hey Milwaukee, join me, Tavis Smiley, from my show Monday through Thursday.
All right, we're back, and let's get this show on the road. That's another cliche. Let's get moving. Swing into action. Here is a cliche of American origin that smacks of the circus and the traveling theater groups. It dates from around 1910, but seems to have come into overwork during the 1960s. Live and let live. This is mind your own affairs and be respectful of those of others. This slogan was carried on delivery trucks of a grocery store when I was a child. Find a grocery store with delivery trucks now, and it mystified me. One had no choice but to live, and one had nothing to do with whether others lived. It seemed to me, the saying seems to me a rapid vapid, but was served for centuries, or it has served for centuries. Gerard de Melnès wrote in the Ancient Law Merchant, 1622, according to the Dutch proverb. Oh boy, can't even read what it was because it is in Old English. Looks like Dutch. Okay, let's see. Now make ends meet. Oh, we do this because that's akin to making $1 out of 15 cents, right? To find the wherewithal, usually in difficult circumstances, to keep going, to balance one's income and outgo, at least precariously. The ends originally were of the year. The idea was that one would take in, from the beginning of the year to the end, enough money to cover one's expenditures. You see this in earlier versions of the saying that were common in English, to make both ends, the two ends of the year meet. An early example is in Tobias Smollett's The Adventures of Roderick Random, 1748. he made shift to make the two ends of the year meet. For many people in those times, particularly farmers, income was irregular, not altogether predictable. Thus, the uncertainty about making the two ends of the year meet. Caller, welcome to the program.
Hey, Keith, how you doing?
Hey, what up, George?
Can I chime in for a minute?
No. Yeah, of course you
Hey,
can.
Debo, can I just say to the people, it's okay to be concerned, but don't let 90 minutes mess up what this man has done over the last 3.5 years. What about character? That man, somebody asked a question on the other radio station yesterday about how Joe Biden wasn't quick on his feet, right, as far as answering the questions. And I said, well, you don't have to worry about answering questions if you lie about everything and you don't answer questions. This man's character, I kind of wish I was an Al sometimes where I could bluntly say the kind of stuff that Al says, but this man is garbage. And I don't know what the fascination is with this guy. What is he? Twice impeached, 34 convictions, and still more stuff that's got to come down to court. And I don't understand what the fascination is with this man. So I would tell people, I don't know, that old saying is that you stick with the date that you brought to the party, you stay with the horse you brought to the race. But even if he gets in office and something should happen to that man, Kamala Harris can finish it. She's a better choice than 45. You know, it's just like you said about Michelle Obama. We got to get over this because she's a black woman, and because she's a woman and she's a black woman, she is more qualified in her little pinky than Donald Trump with his whole body. So people,
but we give white males passes,
and that's shame on us.
Yeah, I mean,
shame on us.
Get a pass because you brought up something that was really fascinating when you asked, does character really matter? And I think about this line from an Earth, Wind, and Fire song, I Can't Let Go, and it says that lovers' eyes are blessed because they only see the best. And what it's saying is that when we are enamored with folks and we love folks and we just love folks blindly, we are blinded to their faults and we're blinded to their warts because we love them so much. You would think that if, especially those folks who are evangelical Christians, who would say that, well, one, the guy lies regularly. The guy was unfaithful to his wife. I mean, all these things. And then what was fascinating, because I was really paying attention in the debate when Joe Biden had said, and he slept with a porn star, and just dude didn't even think about it. He said, no, I didn't. Yes, you did. Yeah, I mean, right. If you didn't sleep with her, why are you paying her? So I mean, but able to do that. But if he's my guy, I'm not going to look at my guy's warts, right? And I think that we do it all because I said this, and I know I get kicked out, and I'll be over there with Tavis Smiley and other folks. But sometimes we gave Obama a pass. Al Sharpton said he would never criticize Obama publicly. And the point that Cornel West was saying, said regardless of who the president is, those folks who are in a prophetic role have to speak truth to power. And you have to be consistent in your speaking truth to power.
Name one. Okay, well, you said that. I think you used the term love. What is it to love? Tell me one thing. Tell me one positive thing about that man. One thing, Keith.
What does that got to do with me loving? My wife loves me. Tell me one positive thing about me, right? She loves me, man.
I know you like to be funny, but I'm serious, Keith.
No, I'm being serious because George, you're looking at it from what you wouldn't do. But those are other eyes, right? And so other eyes might look at the world differently than you and I look. I wish everybody was as clear as I was. I say that tongue in cheek. But the point is, so no, I couldn't understand it. That there have been people, let's just go beyond Trump, where you looked at people going like, what did they see in him? Right? I don't know. But they see something in them because they're solid in their support.
So if we get up and do what we're supposed to do. Oh, and here's another thing too. So what he said, he could shoot somebody on the streets in New York and get away with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if what the Supreme Court just did, and I don't know if what's the judge's name? Some more. What's her name?
Sotomayor.
Sotomayor.
That's a cool name.
She said that he's got immunity. Is she saying that he's got immunity for that right now? If he did that, is that really true?
No, because when he made that statement, he wasn't president.
No, I'm saying if he did that right now,
well, that becomes the issue, and I think that's the example that people were given. But you got to understand that American presidents, you know, there were people were trying to take George W. Bush before the World Court for war crimes based on the invasion in Iraq.
So
right?
Let me ask you
and then hold on, let me finish on that little piece. Okay. He lied, and his administration lied about going into Iraq.
Of course he did.
Okay. So what I'm saying is, but as president, there's things that you have to do. For example, when bin Laden was killed, Americans violated, was it not Afghanistan? Who was it? Where was he at? Was he in Turkey? Where was he when they killed him?
When he was in that cubby hole?
Yeah, what? Pakistan. They violated Pakistan's airspace because they sent the military in. Okay? He violated the law. Should he be prosecuted for that? And I think and I know that everybody, you know, like, oh, the world is coming to an end. But all they're doing is just reaffirming that the president has an enormous amount of power, right? And if he can prove that he's doing it in the capacity of president, then he has immunity. Now he'd have to be able to justify that.
So if Joe Biden said right now, SEAL Team 6,
assassinate Donald Trump,
would he be justified?
He wouldn't be justified, but the question is he doing it in the official capacity as president? And what the argument that the Supreme Court is making is that, of course, he would be then immune for prosecution. That's the slippery slope that you've created, because at this point, it looks like that decision was carved out for Donald Trump, but it was something when President Biden gave his statement saying that, so you're giving me this almost, because it's not, this almost absolute power, I'm not going to use it. So, I mean, it's an acknowledgement.
They're comparing it. I've heard it be compared to the power of a king versus a president.
Right. And then I guess the Supreme Court is arguing that there are checks and balances, right? That if it's the president of the United States, he or she can be impeached. He or she then can be convicted by the Senate, right? But then the question becomes, can lower courts?
I heard somebody use the analogy of if he could very well say that Melania got a hold of some secrets and kill her, and he did it for the sake of the country.
Right. And then it would be up to whomever made that decision if they're going to prosecute him, and then what is the venue that the president of the United States is prosecuted in? In most situations, it's in the U.S., you know, well, I can't think of it, U.S. House of Representatives and the Senate, right? It's done in Congress. So, I mean, I think a lot of people was hoping that, you know, you're going to get that he was going to be, oh, he was wrong. You're not going to get that from this particular Supreme Court. So now, Georgia, gets back to what your original point was. If people do not like the outcome of this decision, and you know how it would impact Donald Trump, then you go and vote.
Exactly. So if we do what we're supposed to do,
right? Because elections have consequences.
But he's not going to give up, even if he don't win this time. Trust me, he's going to try and come back again. This dude, he does not like losing. And I don't know if that was your guy Kenny that you was talking to earlier. Was that your guy Kenny? Okay, when he said that, yes, he did. He was calling him. Joe Biden was calling him liar. You lying. You lied. You know.
But here's the problem.
He was come back.
We're hearing what we're hearing, but we're also seeing what we're seeing. And there is no getting around it. I appreciate the Dems having to embrace it, that when you saw that image of Joe Biden, it was not a very comforting image.
No, it was not. And I got to agree with you.
Was it how comforting was it when you saw Mitch McConnell?
Same thing.
Hey, Tebow. Thank you, because I was telling them that yesterday. I was saying, did y'all tell Mr. McConnell to step down when he had those 2 brain farts? When he was
There were some
suspended?
Republicans who were quietly urging him to step away. And so the fact that
but he's
even the
still there,
Dems
right?
doing what the Dems always do, because they err on the side of right, they go, well, you should circle the wagons. But trust me, there are discussions going on. I mean,
So let me ask you,
because,
do you think that Kamala Harris would be a better president than 45?
oh yeah, I believe that. But do people, and that's the other part of it, who then do you nominate? If you're not going to do Biden, who do you nominate? Kamala Harris comes with her own set of problems. Again, she's a black female. Okay, let's start with that. And people think that that's not a disqualifier for some. It is a disqualifier for a significant number of the populace.
We got to get over that stuff.
I know we do. And so there we go in terms of how progressive we are in terms of how we recognize women. Because the fact that Hillary Clinton is the most qualified person ever to run for president, right? And there were some Democrats who wouldn't vote for her. And certainly it came down to there were men who would not vote for her.
But like I said, if we do what we're supposed to do, if something happened to him, she'll be put in place and we'll be better off. And
right.
thank y'all.
All right, appreciate you. All right. You're listening to Community. Talk much, Keith. You're listening to Community Voice. The phone lines are open, 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Attention.
WNOV 860 and W293CX 106.5 Milwaukee.
All right, welcome back to Community Voice Caller. We thank you for your patience. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for taking my call. And you know something, I think we need to get a better understanding.
Can you take us off a speaker because you're breaking up and we can't hear you?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, but you need to take
Can
us
you
off
hear me
speaker.
now?
Yep.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. What I'm calling for, they did a example of this thing that the Supreme Court did, and the guy said Trump could shoot his wife and then say, my reason for that, she was selling secrets to our enemy. Okay, but he'd have to prove that. He'd have to prove that she actually got some information out of there and did this, that, and the other. He don't just have carte blanket right to just go do all this stuff. And I think for people that need all this immunity, we've never had a president so flawed and running for office so flawed as he is. But he is. And look at his constituents. He can go shoot somebody tomorrow and they'll still vote for him. And
But so could Joe Biden.
As soon as Joe Biden have a little bad showing,
But so could, based on this ruling, so could Joe Biden.
rather than being a friend, going to him in private and finding out where his head is. I think that's distasteful, and I think we need to get our act together. And that's what they want us to look, confused and stupid. I'm not. At this late of the game, what choice do we have? And it's more than just about Biden. It's what he stands for.
But let me say this: when you said that Trump could do it based on that Supreme Court ruling, so could Biden.
Yeah, but because he's not that type of person, he's not going.
Well, we don't. We hope that he hasn't. He hasn't showed any indication.
He probably could go pardon his son now too, couldn't
he? He could. He said that he always had the power too. He could have gone to the Justice Department and said, "Don't do the prosecution." He had the power to do that. He
and you
didn't.
know why he didn't do it? Because he didn't want to taint those branches, because that's what we need, checks and balances. Let Donald Trump get in there. Those are going to be his minions next. Those are going to be his people that he go and do what he needs to do. So if people think that they're getting away with something, I thought I heard you mention something about people just worried about their Social Security check.
No, I didn't. No, what I said was that that's not all that they're worried about. I said that there are people who have a different relationship with government and big government and federal government. And the example I gave was Social Security. That ain't just black folks. There's a whole lot of white folks out there, more white folks than black folks, who are receiving Social Security. This is why, but hold on, I don't know if you're listening to this.
Okay.
And when you listen to Fox and Newsmax, they're pulling back on that whole age piece, right? They just said he had a bad performance, but they're pushing back. Well, it's a couple reasons. One, the guy that he's running against is just 3 years younger than him. And two, a significant portion of that base are elderly people. And at some point, you're going to get to where you're going to go beyond the moment. And now people are going, so this is how you feel about elderly people? Democrats are running commercials right now talking about what Republicans have wanted to do since 1935, which is end Social Security, right? This has been a 90-year battle for them. So
right.
That's what I'm saying. So even now, you know, the victory lap that they did, but they also know that they're sitting there supporting a walking hand grenade, right?
Okay.
So,
but listen to this, Keith. Number one, the guy that's running against Tammy Baldwin, something's really wrong with his brain. Because number one,
you don't piss off fat
he's
people.
Talking about fat people should pay more insurance. And
he got a whole constituency out there he didn't want to piss off.
In a little while, why worry about them? Number one, their whole thing is not about their constituents. It's about them. And as soon as people get that through their brain, maybe they'll be doing something a little bit different. But I know one thing, folks, get out and vote. And the people that don't want to believe in Christianity, that's your right. But don't dump on everybody. Nobody said everyone goes to church and say that they're Christians. They are, because they are not.
But here's the problem. Christians are very good at criticizing the world. Christians go at the world. So if you're criticizing the world is going to push back on you and criticize you.
Right.
So, I mean, that part of it, the social critique, when I was speaking with Bishop Harvey, he was talking about whole family issues and what that looks like. And I find it really amazing. And that when Black people in general have this conversation, and we looked at our families here lately, because many of us come from families that would not be the traditional Eurocentric ideal of a family where there's a mother and a father and 2 kids. That some of us are sitting there with different last names because we got different daddies, right? That don't make you any less a family. I'm sorry?
What does that have to do? Because look, way back.
Well, what I'm saying is that people have this whole idea of what a family looks like.
The children, they weren't married to each other or lesbians.
So, okay. The point is that families.
Okay. So you have one young woman that has 3 kids, 5 kids. 3 of them have different fathers.
You're talking about my mama now.
How that all turned out.
Wait a minute. You're talking about my mama now. That's the point I'm trying to make. And none of us are going to say my family was all messed up. And it's not. It was my family. It's what families look like. And it's what families have been looking like for centuries. So when we act as if, and people are so judgmental sometimes in that, but the reality becomes.
Christians shouldn't be doing that.
I'm sorry?
Why would I go criticize your family? The criticism is don't go out and commit a crime.
What's the crime?
Don't go out and kill your brother.
Okay. But what's the crime in terms of my family?
Steal. Be a better person.
Okay.
Love one another.
Right. But when people start talking about family and what the family should look like, that's an ideal. That's not the reality. Show me any family that doesn't have some level of dysfunction in it. I'll wait.
Oh, you know something? Because we're human beings, we're sinful. We're dysfunctional. We don't think. Look at the United States.
And we're also virtuous.
Some folks, just what we see what's happening across this ocean, are these people being displaced in a war, whether Trump gets in or not, it's going to be a problem here.
Well, and I would say this to my Palestinian brothers and sisters that are here in America. Right. Yeah, it's down to, well, if you think it's bad under Biden, you can only imagine then what the situation is going to be under Trump based on what he's done in the past as it relates to Israel and Palestinians. Once again. So but the whole family thing just it just drives me crazy because when we have
sleepover. Because no one has a model family that they can stand up and say, this is expertly right. Because we all have something that's going on.
Right. So when I used to hear people talking about, oh man, she had babies or da. She ain't by herself. And it ain't new. And there's a lot of reasons because we understand in adult relationships that adult relationships can dissolve. But sometimes part of the remnants of that relationship is a child, is a byproduct.
Okay,
so
Keith, that's why you and I have had this discussion many times. Sex is not recreational.
Yeah, it is. I'm not moving off that. I'm not moving off my square on that. Yes, it is.
Okay, you can move off or move on.
No. I'm not gonna move off that square.
In writing
I think that we so over moralized sex that it's just. Yeah, but we so over moralized sex that it just it's
of the responsibility. God didn't give it to us to have fun. He gave it to us.
Then why is it enjoyable?
That's between you and your.
No. Why is sex physically enjoyable if God didn't give it to us for fun? Because what?
He gave it to us as a gift. Married couples, someone you can go home and sex is about communing your spirit.
The reason why it's given to married couples is the kids.
Oh wow.
It's the kids. That's the issue. It's always been the issue. It was the issue during the time of Jesus. It's the kids. It's not your relationship. Show me. The Bible doesn't say, that.
Keith, we always use the Bible when we want to prove a point about this, that, and the other. I'm telling you where we are today.
Well, where did you get the idea? Where did you get the idea What is your source of getting the idea that God gave sex just for married people? Where did you get that from?
I got it from my upbringing.
And what was part of your upbringing?
And what constituted that was the church.
The church, the Bible.
Even though some of them pastors were not doing the right thing, they still told you what the right things were to do in that pulpit. I don't look at a pastor and make him my God, because he's still human and he has flaws.
What does that have to do with where you got it from?
My thing is, if everybody go lay down, why do we have so much disease in the world?
Well, first of all, many of us have gone and laid down. And I'd like to say, after lying, probably the most violated behavior prohibition has been on sex. Many people have sex outside of marriage. Many people do. So
does that make it right?
What's the right? What are you saying? What's wrong with it?
Oh, Keith, come on.
No, I'm asking you. You asked me, do I say it's right? What do you see wrong with it?
I see that you made a vow to a person that you married.
Okay.
And unless you had a separate contract.
Are the wedding vows in the Bible?
Tomorrow night.
Are the wedding vows in the Bible? Are the wedding vows in the Bible?
Go for it.
Are the wedding vows in the Bible? I'm waiting. Are the wedding vows in the Bible?
I'm basing it on my principle.
Your
What I
principles.
believe.
Okay.
And I'm going to keep sticking to that.
Okay. And I don't want to put it out there where, your private business. But what I'm saying is that I can tell you both anecdotally and I can tell you statistically, one of the most violated so-called moral codes is people having sex outside of marriage.
And you know what? Because they're lusting, sinful.
Well, you call it whatever you want to do. Your reason to get down is your reason to get down. But I'm just saying, but that's the reality.
All I'm going to tell you is that it comes with responsibility.
It does. And if you create a child, well, wait a minute. If you create a child,
paying child support.
If you create a child, you have the responsibility, both male and female, to raise that child. And the idea was to then have a marriage, right? Because but now in America, marriage is a little bit different than the marriage you saw in the Bible. Because in America, women have property rights that they did not enjoy during the time of Jesus. Big difference.
Weren't they taken care of? I mean, even when David
but that's why Jesus was so adamant against divorce, because they weren't being taken care of. And so you had homeless children, you had homeless women forced to go into prostitution in order either to eat or to feed their kids, because the dude walked away and he could. All he had to do was go to the rabbi and get a let.
Let me just do this and then we'll resolve it.
Okay.
You have boys, you're raising godchildren, boys and girls.
Right.
I have a boy and a girl. So I have to be careful I can't tell my son, go enjoy life, go do this here, because I have a daughter here that I want to be respected. And I'm going to give her the principle that if you truly marry someone that is into you, he's going to nurture you to be the best person that you could be. You have people now that are bringing home another person saying, well, could we have a threesome? Yeah, you could have a fourth.
But that's private behavior. Why would you care about that?
Oh, my God.
Why would you care about somebody else and what they're doing? Because they have no say over what you're doing. So why would you care?
A dog, if you want to.
You can say all of that, but you also made a moral judgment that somehow if people do sex differently than you, they're wrong.
Wait a minute, I didn't say nothing about how they do sex.
Well, it doesn't sound like you down for foursomes.
Say what now?
It doesn't sound like you down for foursomes, so that is different than you.
You dang right, I'm not down for foursomes.
There you go.
And I'm not down for diseases either.
Okay, there you go. But why would you care if somebody else is down for foursomes? Why would you care?
Whenever your birthday is in July, that's why we continue to talk, because mine's the 4th of July. Have a safe one.
All right.
Community.
All
don't shoot each other. Don't party together and then kill each other at the end of it.
And don't do foursomes.
Have a good day.
All right.
That's one way to get him off the line.
I know she ain't down for foursomes.
Wow.
Call, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing well.
They talk like you done lost it
Devo?
this morning.
Yeah, there's a special place in hell for me, I guess.
Yeah, they talk like you done really gone off your rocker.
I'm just saying, if you don't want people in your bedroom, then don't be in anybody else's bedroom. That's the only point I'm making. You get into the right and wrong of it, then let that right and wrong control your behavior. But for you to say what somebody else is doing in their bedroom, right, and even to the point that people want to legislate it, that's crazy. Because once it hits your bedroom, we're going to be having a different discussion. Caller, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you. It's like mind your own business.
Right.
Talk about that.
To each his own. Didn't I just do it?
Own business.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the problem. And with some of this society and the religious part, a lot of people don't even follow the religious part. Like what? Thou shalt not kill. Well, you got. They say they kill more people down there in the South, as far as prisoners and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They kill more, especially black people, than anything. They said thou shalt not kill. Abortion, thou shalt not kill. You know, they don't follow their own rules, but
Right.
the rules only apply to certain people.
And I ask anybody, show me in the Bible abortion.
Yeah.
I'll wait. It's not in there. And so then we have to get into, well, one, we should value life, but there seems to be disagreement on when life begins. There's no universal. So what does that mean? That an abortion is a medical procedure. And so shouldn't that medical procedure be between the woman, because dudes don't get abortions, with the woman and her doctor, right? And then
100%.
we put it on where, okay, you should go on and carry that baby to term, okay? And then you're going to be carrying that baby to term by yourself. Now, the interesting thing, somebody's going to shoot back, oh, you laid down, but you didn't lay down by yourself.
That's right.
Okay, so that idea, and just to get back to why marriage was formed for children, to make sure that children were taken care of. That's what marriage was for. You know, you can't show me the marriage vows in the Bible. They're not in there, right? If you go and get a divorce, the judge doesn't ask you if you love that person, right? The judge wants to know, can y'all get along? Can y'all work this out? Nope. Okay, let's start dividing up stuff. That's the 21st century that we live in. But that's just me.
Well,
I mean, you know.
I was just going to say I'm a product of it because I divorced my first husband.
Oh, man.
I had my first kid when I was 17.
Right.
And so back then when you had children, abortion was illegal.
Right.
But I didn't want one anyway. So I just worried about how I was going to tell my parents. That's what I worried about. But then it just clicked in my head when I started growing, I have to tell them. When they ask me, I'm going to say yes.
And part of that was even before you got pregnant at 17, how people talked to you about sex, right? So you wasn't
Nobody talked to me.
Exactly. And so you're not even understanding the biology. Yeah, the biology. And then they go like, and then look, you create forbidden fruit. Because when you tell people not to do it, guess what they're going to want to do? They're going to want to do it. And so this idea of even how we, and I'm glad that we're maturing, that we begin to understand that even how we teach our young people about sex, right? We should be teaching them about sex. And then the second part of that is, how do we teach young people to have healthy relationships? Because I'm telling you that there's a whole lot of toxic relationships out there.
For real, especially when I divorced. But you know, some it was very
especially when you get rid of.
Yeah, it was very, very toxic.
Right.
People would believe a lot of times we don't talk. But another thing, what worried me too, is like I was in a Pentecostal church.
Okay.
And I mean, we got kind of like, you know, they look down on you.
Mm-hmm.
And that was more what I worried about and I was sad about. And plus with my parents, you know, this doing this and that, you know, disappointment. But I just, you know, I didn't go to church no more. I mean, they didn't want me to go to church no more. We had to go to church before.
Mm-hmm.
But after
and
that,
then if you had to get up, who had to apologize to the congregation? The alleged father? No. And so we're already looking at this misogynistic practice where the women are the fault of her getting pregnant. It's not a fault. She was in a relationship with someone. They had a consensual act. Part of that consensual sexual act is the byproduct could be a child. I mean, that's it's just that simple. But like I said, we make it so moral. And then the number one sin, if we went out and just said, I want you to identify the number one sin, let's just do this blind survey. I bet you sex is up in the top 1 or 2. I bet you sex is up in the top 1 or 2. Not lying, not stealing, not injustice, sex. Because we're so twisted when it comes to sex. We are. I mean, let's just admit it, America. We're twisted, America. Admit it. No, I mean, I'm just saying how we even things I had to evolve through because I was hearing what I was hearing, right? That the worst birth control talk is girls keep your skirt down and your panties up.
Right.
That worked, didn't it? Really effective. It was really effective, wasn't it?
Did you know about the peacocks?
The peacock.
It was like in a little aspirin box, and it was like the rubber the man put on.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Before Trojans, yes, peacock.
Called them peacocks back in the day. They had the little peacock with the spreaded wings on the tail.
Right. Why would I know about that?
I just asked. Maybe you might have heard about it. No.
Yeah, I read about it.
I just think you might have heard about it.
No, I did. I did. And
I don't dip in people. I say it's people's business. That's just what I started out with. But I'm going to ask you a couple more things. It's going to go fast. Now, like we speak of Donald Trump and all of this, he got immune from it. Now, I called before. I told you I had a son in prison. He's been in there over 20 years. And the biggest sentence they gave him is 60 years. So if this man could tear up a country, want to fight, tell you he's going to put the military on you every inner city, he's going to put the military and the police on you if you don't abide by the rules they set. And I'm just wondering, how can you, people say, well, help legislate the rules, and they say, especially the black people, in a hurry, lock them up, throw away the key, this and that. And I'm sitting up here, my son never did nothing that relate to this kind of stuff. He even went to the service for this country. This man wouldn't go because of bone spurs.
Well, but I also believe that from just if you look at history, in some ways the president is above the law. I mean, and we believe that no one, but I'm saying in his official capacity as president, that there are things that he can do because he's president. And some people would argue from a national security perspective, maybe you want him to have that power. But the problem with this is because this is not just for Trump. And everybody's focusing because it was Trump that brought it to the Supreme Court. But then the question then becomes, then what power does the president have? So let's say now that Joe Biden is reelected and he doesn't like those 6 Supreme Court justices. Does he have the power then to go in and remove them or have them assassinated? And he could do that under what they used to say for policemen under the color of law. So it opened up the door for a whole lot. But Democratic presidents will then either benefit from this decision just like Republican presidents will. Because again, Joe Biden admitted as much. He said, I have the power, but I won't exercise the power. So that gets us to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Somebody that care and somebody that don't care. Joe Biden don't sound evil like Trump do. Trump always aimed at all they pick black people to pick on, and I'm just afraid because we're so picked on that the first thing's going to happen is the gunshot going to come at our head.
Well, and I could poo-poo, oh man, don't worry, we get through this, we get through that, but we might not get through it. That's also a possibility. So, as if people are going to always rise up and do the right thing. History and my life has shown that people will not always rise up. Even good people may or may not rise up and do the right thing.
No, because you see it. Because like I said, the injustices. And another thing I just want to say real quick. Now, like they got all this money donated to them. Like Trump Heritage Foundation. They got that Federalist Society. They can train their people to make these moves to be into the judgmentships and stuff like that for the people. And something else, that Citizens United, that's something too where I had to look it up, but it's something where they rules where they can take donations from all these big
corporations
and all
are
that
people
stuff.
too.
How we gonna beat that?
Well, if you had a different Supreme Court, you would have beat it. But it got to the Supreme
now we
Court.
can't get it because people believe the lies Trump tell, you know.
Right. And so when people because look, a lot of us are very immediate. If it's not immediately happening, it doesn't really matter. I mean, we live in so much in the moment that we don't realize that another moment is going to come after that moment. And a lot of people live that way, right? And so no, I'm not looking down the road. What's going to be you always hear people use the analogy, you got to play chess as opposed to checkers because, chess is more deliberate. But, you're doing the same thing with checkers. If you're looking at that board, you're figuring out what your next couple of moves are going to be, right?
Win, yeah.
Yep. So I'm just saying that the evil flourishes when good men do nothing. Evil flourishes when good men do nothing. And so we can sit up and look at a situation and go like, dude, I'm not going to involve myself in this. Good people, right? But evil is going to take advantage of that. Evil is going to take advantage of your apathy. People are going to take advantage. Evil is going to take advantage of your indifference, right? All these things can be used against you. And then one day you look up and go, where did this dude come from?
How did we get here? Yeah.
Right. 4 years ago.
Let me say one more thing. The young people don't even like to talk about it. So, the ones my relatives, they don't like to talk about all of this stuff.
It's a lot. It's depressing. I haven't looked at the national news. It's depressing because when you sit up and you look and you feel like evil is going to win.
Yeah.
And then you get to the point where, okay, do I have a say in this? I still believe that we do. But the worst thing we can do is not involve ourselves in this situation.
True. Yeah, very true. Okay. Bye.
All right. You're listening to Community Voice. We're up on the last break of the program. And I didn't allude to white Jesus once this program. We'll be right back.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200
All right, welcome back to Community Voice as we wrap up another program. Boy, oh boy. I was telling Debo, I said, man, some people said there's a very special place in hell for me, huh? Ooh, got the whole Keith suite over here, right? Just over here. I think the point I'm trying to make is that if you want your privacy respected, then you need to respect other people's privacy. That's the only point that I'm trying to make. If you're not down with certain behavior, then don't do it. And we're not talking about where people are doing harm or killing themselves, or killing other people. I think we just need to be a little bit more mindful. And I think the other thing is, I'll just say that we should just stay out of other people's videos, because I got enough going on over here. And like I said, I wouldn't want anybody to be telling me how I can get down. So I'm certainly not going to tell you how you can get down. Now people go, oh, well, that's just the reality, okay? And then when we peel back the layers of respectability that people have created, I put that in quotations, and come to find out what some of our behavior was. Now people say, oh, I was a sinner. I was okay, got all of that, but we still did it, okay? And it is what it is. All right, we're going to wrap up another program. Tomorrow is the 4th of July. So hopefully people, and let me thank the good folks there from Ascension, that you'll be safe tomorrow. Looks like it's going to be a beautiful day. So a lot of people probably going to be out in the parks, going to be queuing. Be careful, be careful, be careful. But enjoy the day and enjoy your family. All right, Debo, thank you. Carvey, thank you. Michelle, thank you. The good Lord willing, creek don't rise. We hope to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always, go from this place in peace.
Father, open eyes that we may see to